Prepare yourself, because you're about to hear me utter a piece of social sacrilege. I do not support the Black Lives Matter movement. A lot of people don't, and there are a lot of reasons for that. And here's one reason. I feel obligated to express the following. I believe that black lives do matter. It is the movement, not the sentiment, that I disagree with. People hear that phrase, Black Lives Matter, and they assume that it must be something that they agree with. The single most brilliant thing that Black Lives Matter did was use that phrase as their slogan and their title. It's hard to argue with. Not that people haven't tried. A counter slogan was created years ago. All lives matter. But I don't like the phrase, all lives matter. I have said before that all lives matter is not a particularly intelligent answer to the slogan, Black Lives Matter. Supporters of Black Lives Matter will often try to explain that the phrase Black Lives Matter does not exclude other lives from consideration. That phrase does not claim that one life is worth more than another. And that counterpoint is valid. It's the same premise as the phrase, it's okay to be white. It's a simple statement that means only what it says. It's okay to be white. Well, of course it's okay to be white. And of course, black lives do matter. And that's why the slogan, not the movement, but the slogan, Black Lives Matter, is so effective. People would have you believe that supporting the Black Lives Matter movement is the obvious way to support the black community. But that's really not so obvious. That's a matter of priorities. And the priorities of this movement are pretty clear. They care deeply for black lives that are lost in police encounters. Do they care about the black victims of black criminals, though? That is one of the biggest criticisms of Black Lives Matter. There are a lot of people who share Black Lives Matter's concerns about police violence who still criticize the group for their priorities. Is police violence really the biggest problem that black society faces? A lot of people say no. The crime rate of black communities is a much bigger threat to black lives. It is a much bigger obstacle to the improvement of black communities. People who voice that criticism of Black Lives Matter are not unconcerned with black lives. Quite the contrary, whether you agree or not, the concern for the black victims of crime demonstrates a concern for black lives. Black lives do matter to most of the critics of the Black Lives Matter movement. In fact, that is the source of their criticism, the fact that they care. And so I think the counter slogan to Black Lives Matter should be obvious. You say, Black Lives Matter. I say, all Black Lives Matter. Not just the ones that become major news stories or viral videos. All of them matter. And because so many more of them are the victims of crime than police abuse, that's where my priority is. And I believe that the Black Lives Matter movement eclipses that concern. They disregard the problem of black crime rates. They divert attention away from it. And I understand the emotional reason for that. People want to fight racism. And there is no racism to fight when you're talking about crime in black communities. Does it bother me that they protest against police brutality? No, not at all. What bothers me is the blatant disregard for a much bigger problem, one that affects far more black lives. I am told that there really are black activists in black communities that do perform protests and demonstrations about crime and violence in black communities. And if that's true, then let them adopt this phrase as well. They do not have to agree with my stances at all. But if they want the attention they desire, the attention they deserve, then they're going to have to get it at the expense of the Black Lives Matter movement. And who knows? Perhaps they could even reform the Black Lives Matter movement into something more useful by directing people's attention to the fact that all black lives matter. It's simple. It's direct. It is a criticism of the Black Lives Matter movement that cannot be easily brushed aside because, like their slogan, this one carries an innate and obvious morality to it.